All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. Obviously, we have a bit of exciting news this morning. George Karl being named the 2012-13 NBA Coach of the Year. It's an award we're extremely excited about. I know that I feel a tremendous amount of pride in Coach Karl winning this award. It was a lot of fun, and it's only going to be more fun going forward. So congratulations to Coach Karl and Masai.
Congratulations, Coach. Step forward.
Don't fall down.
Don't fall down. And show them your snake shoes.
1995 cheapies.
Can you put this down?
Yeah.
Let's get this out of the way, too. Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I didn't think this many people would show up today. Wow. Oh, wow. When I saw the award about a week ago, it was a very, very humbling, emotional experience, and because it made me think about my career. And the one thing I want to talk about today is because I want to thank everybody that, as a coach, you coach a team, and your whole thing is about not how one person performs. It's on how well everybody performs together. And that does not only include your team. It includes, it reflects back to the time where I had a meeting one day with Bill Walsh when I was coaching the Golden State Warriors. And he told me that in the NFL, there's only 4 or 5 teams that have a chance of winning an NFL championship because it takes the organization, it takes management, it takes ownership, it takes coaching staffs, and it takes a football team to be united to win that. And the exciting thing about this year and this award, because a lot of times, I wanted to win it and never did win it, and now I've gotten callous to winning it. And now I win it because this was probably in my career the most wonness of an organization, a basketball team, a coaching staff, a supportive staff, administrative staffs, from Amy and Lisa and Pete and Dan, all those guys. Because I get the award in my name, but it is totally because of the oneness that we have brought to the table this season. And so I think that's the thing. The only thing I like to do is kind of thank some of the people that got me into coaching that are very important to me now in my life. The first time I ever thought about coaching was I tore my back up when I was a freshman at North Carolina. I had back surgery. And kind of my rehab was to go in after I was in, at that time there was a freshman team. So I would go in after the varsity played and sit with Coach Guthridge and sometimes Coach Lodge, but mostly Coach Guthridge. And he would show me what he did with a video and breaking it down. And I said, this is pretty cool. And at that time, I knew nothing about anything about basketball. In high school, I was a scorer, and I had a little guy that threw the ball to me all the time, and it was easy. And we had a lot of fun. Those guys' names, Donnie Wilson and Artie Barr, I want to mention them. My coach in high school was a guy named Coach Eisenelder. He had me so scared my senior year that I didn't think I was going to make the team. How about those days? Are those days gone? And the guy that really got me into basketball is a guy named Roger Bropes. He was my 9th grade high school, junior high basketball coach, and he was fantastic. But throughout so much of what I've done over the years of coaching is my friends in the fraternity of coaching has been a blessing. It's been a gift. It's been an honor to be a part of it. And now I have to stand for a year to be representative of the greatness of great coaches in the NBA. We are now at a stage where a lot of coaches are going to get fired, and some of you want me fired. But the truth of the matter is there's not very much bad coaching in the NBA. There's some bad situations that don't work. But from the head coaches to the assistant coaches to the scouts, there are so many talented people that help every organization do their job at a high level. But unfortunately, half of us lose every night. And it's a very stressful, and expectations can be wildly out of control. But the assistant coaches are the people that hold me together. And I have a great bunch of assistant coaches. We have we've had the honor of changing a lot of people, but at the end of this season, I thought the organization of my staff and how they operated was probably as smooth and as oneness as we've ever had. And I thank them very much. I don't want to embarrass them by all standing up, but they're very important to me. And the oneness that we have brought to coaching this team and the team committing to it, the organization being a part of it, the ownership liking what's happening and supporting us is all what I think is we're celebrating here today. The last thing I'd like to get a little emotional, try not to be. Probably my best friend in coaching I lost this year, and Rick Majerus. And there are a lot of days I fought because I miss him a lot. And he's a college coach and I'm a pro coach, and we had more arguments and agreements in my lifetime. But I learned so much about coaching because of his love for the game and love for me. And then so much of coaching is you cheat your family. And I want Kim to be here and my daughter Casey because I know I'm cheating them. And I thank everybody. Okay, I'll get cut up now. But all I'm trying to say is friends and family are so important in what I become and what I am. And without them, you cannot be successful. Without the basketball assistant family of trainers and Steve Hess and Goofy, Sparky, and so many things along the way that make us laugh and make us come together, make us commit to doing it the right way and fighting through the tough days. And I think what I hope is that everybody understands that this is not about me. It's about a lot of people and a lot of people in my past. And I am proud to have that trophy. And I told my staff, I don't know if you know about this trophy. The statue is in Boston somewhere. I don't know exactly what square in Boston it sits. I've sat on its bench thinking someday I might have a chance to win it. And I remember the story a long time ago. I had the opportunity to go meet Mr. Arbach. And somehow I blew it, and I didn't go. And so I've read his books. I've studied him a little bit. I think he was one of the more creative coaches from the standpoint of making a team play together. And then my last thing I'd like to say is my greatest influence in my coaching career is Coach Dean Smith. And I owe so much of what I am today with my 4 years of being under his tutelage and being a part of the Carolina fraternity and family. So I'll try to settle down and ask me some questions, and we can move on.
George, as you were battling cancer numerous times, did you ever think at that moment you would be sitting here accepting this award?
No, I don't think I think coming in the battle after cancer and coming back and coaching in the way I've coached since then has been very invigorating to me. It's different. It's different. And maybe there's a need for it to be different from my standpoint, but the balance that came into my existence after cancer and to try to do that and balancing my staff and my responsibilities, before cancer, I was much more dominant, and now I'm much more, for a better phrase, democratic. But I think when I came back from cancer, I just wanted to come back and prove that I could coach, and it was okay. I didn't know if I would last a year or 6 months or whatever it's been now, 4 or 5 years. So it's I think, everybody has their life-changing experiences. Unfortunately, I was so stubborn and stupid that I had to have cancer twice before I woke up a little bit.
George, you mentioned before your dad would tell you that on the athletic field, your accomplishments, your achievements can't be taken from you. You think about him at this time when you look at that award, too, and his influence with hard work and ethic.
Yeah, I think when you get older, you always focus back on I think I'm becoming a lot more like my dad as I get older. And yes, my dad was, I don't know if I've told the story. He was a total non-athlete. My grandpa taught me about sports. My grandpa, as young as 7 or 8 years old, showed me how to play stickball on the streets of Pittsburgh, and then played on a basketball hoop that was 7.5 feet high, and broke and fell on the alleyways sometimes, and played handball and handball, and it was my grandpa that kind of got me into sports. And my grandpa died when I was in 5th grade, and my dad was a total non-athlete. I don't even know if he could throw a baseball, but he tried to do everything my grandpa did. And he got to be pretty good at baseball. He got to be pretty good at catching the football. I got pretty good about rebounding basketballs. But he had to teach himself to be a part of my life. And, one day he said to me, the thing he loved about athletics was you can do things that no one can ever take away from you. And, when we won 57 games, that is something right now that it will be difficult for some other team to take away from us someday. And we did things this year that were pretty impressive. And we're still in that the state of depression that we live in after we lose. But my dad's very, as I say, I'm kind of proud that I'm getting a little bit more like him as I get older.
George, you just said you won 57 games. You had a great regular season. But is there any kind of bittersweetness to this because of ultimately the way the season did end?
I think right now the balance that we have in our existence is no. I think 2 months from now that balance might be more 50-50. Hopefully come next October 1st, that balance will be forgotten and we'll move on to knowing that we have a great young basketball team that is growing, that got better this season, that improved at such a fast rate that we got maybe too cocky and too ahead of ourselves. And the coaches fall into the category too of, none of us are happy with the result, but I think we're also motivated by the challenge.
Speaking of the challenge, could you just talk about the challenges that you had to overcome this season, and why it was so rewarding here? Obviously, culminating in this.
It was an incredible season. That's why the disappointment is so immense. I wake up every morning depressed. I woke up this morning about 6 o'clock. I was hoping for sunshine. I got rain, and didn't make me feel very good. Then I said, "Oh God, I got to put a suit and tie on instead of sport." But the season had so many different personalities that we overcame. From the standpoint of the schedule, from the standpoint of Wilson Chandler missing a lot of part of the first half of the season, and then finding our roots in January, and then having then kind of having an incredibly run of 15 in a row. I've never won 15 in a row, and I've been on a lot of talented teams, and and then the injuries, and then of course fighting and winning the 3rd seed, and then of course the disappointment. So the personality of this season you could write a book on, I guess is the best way to phrase it. There's a lot of things that you had to tinker with and had to mix up, and that's where you have to understand there's 15 guys in that locker room. I get to talk to maybe 3 or 4 of them every day. And so my staff has to take care of at least 7 or 8 more guys. And that's where you don't all understand what work they do for us. It's not about one person doing it well. It's about how well all of us do it as one.
George, this is the first time that you won this award, but do you think this year was the best coaching job you ever did?
I think there are different types of coaching jobs. And I think what I'm celebrating here is what I'm saying is the oneness of the unification of this organization, this team, this bunch of young guys, a new player, a staff that kind of, we changed up some responsibilities and did it differently. And everybody, I never felt there was many negative days. Even when we were struggling early in the season, under 500 and all that stuff, everybody was challenged and motivated. And I can't deny in November and December, we were hoping January 1 would come here pretty fast because there were days. But then I don't know what you think it is. I think it happened to me around December 15th, December 20th. You could see the team start playing better. you could see their confidence coming. And I don't know, we got beat by the Clippers, and then we came back and beat the Lakers. I remember that. We went down to Dallas and beat Dallas down in Dallas, and then we got the Clippers back here and beat the Clippers. So we beat 3 teams in a pretty short period of time. And the most energizing thing about next year, I'm pretty sure it will be, is that we played the big boys at a very high level all year long. And, our record's going to be, you can taint it a little bit saying 38-3. And but we had, we had, the fans were great. They were extremely into our team. The street was extremely supportive. I thought our players enjoyed the year. And I know that sounds like something that we shouldn't talk about, but it doesn't happen as often as you think it happens.
George, over here. I know you talked about the oneness of the organization. Is some of that a wellspring of the way you changed your coaching style when you beat cancer the second time and came back and made those significant changes in the way you do things?
I think you could, again, sometimes change, making changes is important. I think, and I think sometimes in basketball things lie. One thing that's lying to us right now is we're the #1 rebounding team in the NBA, and we think we're a lousy rebounding team. We think one thing that we already talked in 2 of our meetings that next year we got to get better at rebounding than basketball. That's for Kim. Kim's a rebounding coach. So, but yeah, but in the same sense, I think I've always thought that head coaches are too dominant. And I think the balance that I brought was maybe the cancer said that, one, I don't have the energy to do what I did in the past. When I first came back, my energy level wasn't as much as it was. And, I was aware that stress and unhealthy living creates cancerous situations. And once you have cancer, you have more opportunity to have more cancerous situations. So I wanted to be careful there. So I think you could write that, yes.
George? I just want to say congratulations and thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
What were your expectations, George? You have that outline of the season. You win 57 games with a team record. What were your honest expectations for this team with the youth and, like you said, with Andre coming in, the changes you had to make?
I thought our expectation was to get in a home court situation. And of all the years, I've never seen 3 teams like Memphis, LA, and us be that close, that long, for such a long period of time. And, I thought it was, somewhat mentally fatiguing, just to get to the 3rd seed. And when we got to the 3rd seed, again, we all got to be disappointed in what happened. And I think the coaches, last year when we lost the Lakers in Game 7, the depression was over. I think most of the coaches know that depression is going to be around for at least a couple more weeks until we can get maybe Golden State off the TV and, stop them from blowing a 16-point lead. I don't know. That game drove me crazy because I don't know who I was rooting for. I kept making shots and all that stuff. Okay. Have a good summer.